Numbers 6. The Lord said to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and say to them, if a man or woman wants to make a special vow, a vow of dedication to the Lord as a Nazirite, they must abstain from wine and other fermented drink, and must not drink vinegar made from wine or other fermented drink. They must not drink grape juice, or eat grapes or raisins. As long as they remain under their Nazirite vow, they must not eat anything that comes from the grapevine, not even the seeds or the skins. During the entire period of their Nazirite vow, no razor may be used on their head. They must be holy until the period of their dedication to the Lord is over. They must let their hair grow long. Throughout the period of their dedication to the Lord, the Nazirite must not go near a dead body, not even if their own father or mother or brother or sister dies. They must not make themselves ceremonially unclean on account of them, because the symbol of their dedication to God is on their head. Throughout the period of their dedication, they are consecrated to the Lord. If someone dies suddenly in the Nazirite's presence, thus defiling the hair that symbolizes their dedication, they must shave their head on the 7th day, the day of their cleansing. Then on the 8th day they must bring 2 doves or 2 young pigeons to the priest at the entrance of the tent of meeting. The priest is to offer one as a sin offering, and the other as a burnt offering to make atonement for the Nazirite, because they sinned by being in the presence of the dead body. That same day they are to consecrate their head again. They must rededicate themselves to the Lord for the same period of dedication, and must bring a year-old male lamb as a guilt offering. The previous days do not count, because they became defiled during their period of dedication. Now this is the law of the Nazirite when their period of dedication is over. They are to be brought to the entrance to the tent of meeting. They are to present their offerings to the Lord: a year-old male lamb without defect for a burnt offering, a year-old ewe lamb without defect for a sin offering, a ram without defect for a fellowship offering, together with their grain offerings and drink offerings, and a basket of bread made with the finest flour and without yeast, thick loaves with olive oil mixed in, and thin loaves brushed with olive oil. The priest is to present all these before the Lord and make the sin offering and the burnt offering. He is to present the basket of unleavened bread and is to sacrifice the ram as a fellowship offering to the Lord, together with its grain offering and drink offering. Then at the entrance to the tent of meeting, the Nazirite must shave off the hair that symbolizes their dedication. They are to take the hair and put it in the fire that is under the sacrifice of the fellowship offering. After the Nazirite has shaved off the hair that symbolizes their dedication, the priest is to place in their hands a boiled shoulder of the ram, and 1 thick loaf and 1 thin loaf from the basket, both made without yeast. The priest shall then wave these before the Lord as a wave offering. They are holy and belong to the priest, together with the breast that was waved and the thigh that was presented. After that, the Nazirite may drink wine. This is the law of the Nazirite who vows offerings to the Lord in accordance with their dedication, in addition to whatever else they can afford. They must fulfill the vows they have made, according to the law of the Nazirite. The Lord said to Moses, "Tell Aaron and his sons, this is how you are to bless the Israelites. Say to them, the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. So they will put my name on the Israelites, and I will bless them." May the Lord bless the reading of his word, and guide my mouth I speak the message I prepare, that it be his message, not my message. That his will might be done, not mine. That he might receive glory and honor, not I. That all those with ears might hear the words of the Lord. Amen. Amen. As I said before, this past Wednesday marked the beginning of Lent. It was Ash Wednesday. And for most Protestants, it's always an interesting question tradition of Protestant. We sometimes talk about the Reformation and Protestantism as this sort of monolithic thing, but we know that that's not how we roll. Heck, even all the Baptists can't agree on hardly anything. Depending on what your culture and what your tradition is, you maybe do pancakes or ashes or fasting or worship services or something. It's always a nice thing that this is a season when all the churches can come together and do something, even if it's not always the same thing. Some of you know my story when I was in Catholic school in third grade. The first time that Lent came around at St. Mary's, and my mom was trying to figure out how to explain the Baptist understanding on Lent. And we were driving home from school one day. Said, "Mom, I've been thinking about Lent." She was, of course, at St. Mary's we used to go to services a couple of times a week and talk to the priest, and he'd come in and talk to the class, and there were nuns. I was driving home from school one day, and I said to my mom, I said, "Mom, I've been thinking about Lent." So she's getting all ready to prepare, to give sort of the traditional Baptist, basically we don't do that, sort of spiel, or, there's no virtue in chocolate given up for, this thing or that. You ever notice that McDonald's always, brings back the filet-o-fish when it's Lent? So we're ready, and so she takes a big deep breath. I said, "Mom, I've been thinking about giving up something for Lent. I think I'm going to give up fighting." And my mom goes, "That's a good idea." It's good. All the other stuff went out the window, and I decided, that's a good thing. One of the reasons why Baptists have a particular sort of visceral reaction to Lent is because we follow the tradition of Zwingli. Zwingli. He's a Swiss reformer right around the time of Martin Luther. And Zwingli has some particular ideas, and it's actually about fasting at Lent is one of his hot-button issues that caused a whole uproar. But Zwingli's big focus is on the Bible. Sounds like, this sounds familiar, right? Well, what does the Bible say? And we follow that not in a sort of literalist way, but just focusing, all doctrine on the Bible. One of the things that he disagreed with Luther on, and this is why we're a little bit different than Lutherans, is where the presence of God is in the sacraments, in the things that the church does. And so that's why we don't tend to, as Baptists, we don't tend to call them sacraments, we tend to call them ordinances. Because the real presence is in the obedience in doing what God ordered us to do, not in the actual elements of what we're doing. That's why we talk about baptism and things being an outward sign of an inward change. It's the following what Jesus said, "Do this." We said, "Yes, Lord," and we do it. And it's in that action that the presence of God is. And as a community, it's as we all are doing it together. Whereas Luther had his own ideas about what's going on with the bread and the wine in the Eucharist and the Thanksgiving meal of communion. Zwingli also had some things about not having images in places of worship. He's one of the original iconoclasts, people who smashed icons. Got rid of them. If Zwingli were here today, he would be shocked and amazed to see a Baptist church with pictures of Jesus up, and probably even pictures of the church up. And no, that's not. This is very these windows with just sort of these abstract sort of prettiness. He probably wouldn't even like the scrolls and the crowns and things in them. Zwingli was also very musical. He played a number of instruments and really appreciates it. Like I said, it sounds like a Baptist, right? And his sort of first place that he gets some public awareness is he preaches a sermon that it's not a sin not to fast for Lent, and he actually hands out some smoked sausages to prove this. It's called the Affair of the Sausages. And it starts this riot because people thought he was blaspheming the church. He was speaking against the teachings of the church. Things that people had been doing for a long time. That you ever have a meal that, or maybe a recipe that means something to you, and somebody swaps out an ingredient, and you're like, that's not how it's made. I have a friend who once ordered a carbonara at a restaurant, and it came with peas in it. That's not in carbonara. Anyway, no. You have something. It has to be the way that Grandma made it, right? In order for it to be true. There's some visceral, there's some family, emotional connection to certain things. So he hands out these little smoked sausages, and it causes a riot. One of the things that we don't like, pastors often don't talk about is Winkley also said it wasn't a sin not to tithe, which caused all sorts of, because that's how the church got all their money and taxes. And anyway. This was his thing. You don't have to fast for Lent. Now, you understand how we got to that point because you can't find it anywhere in the Bible that, you shall do this. It's not an ordinance of God. And while he's right, it's not a sin not to fast. It is a sin not to consider the atonement of Christ and apply it to your life. Say that again. It's not a sin not to fast for Lent, but it is a sin not to consider the atonement of Christ and apply it to your life. In fact, you might say that's the unforgivable sin. Now, one can have that reflection. One can have that consideration, that time of faith at any point in the calendar. Right? We preach those sermons all the time. We sing, just as I am, and do altar calls. Well, not really all that much because we're doing here, so that's not how we do it. But we want people to come to faith at any point in the calendar. But Lent, that's what it's a particular focus on. That's the goal of it, is to do that. And in fact, throughout much of the church's history, it was at the end of Lent that you would have your baptismal services, and Easter was this time to take in new people into the church. I mean, quite frankly, it's a really good time to do it. And so when we think about Lent, we should be thinking about it in terms of what the purpose of it is, rather than get bogged down in the particulars that may strike us as a little bit different or weird, or we feel guilty about or something. And this is why this text is so good, because number 6 has a similar purpose to Lent. Number 6, I like to call it my sermon, in fact, in the title of my sermon this morning, an intentionality wrench. Right? You know what an up and down wrench is, right? It's when you're using a crescent wrench or an adjustable wrench or something, and you're trying to twist a bolt and it won't go, so you just start banging it. Right? Nobody has ever done that, right? It's an up and down wrench. You want the right tool for the right job, and number 6 is this tool that allows us to tighten, to increase, to torque our souls a little bit by using some intentionality to get us to a place where God can transform us. Number 6 is in the midst of, it's Numbers, so it's after all of Leviticus. You've just had a census of who all this thing has been given to, and now you get this practice for doing a special vow, what they call the Nazirite vow. Now, the specifics of the Nazirite vow are interesting. And a lot of stuff has been made about this and trying to draw analogies to John the Baptist, drawing analogies to Samson with the cutting of the hair. It's interesting to note that that's not quite what the Nazirite vow is. It's similar but different. And that's helpful for us to recognize that the Nazirite vow shows us a type of vow, but not all vows are the Nazirite. Notice that the Nazirite is prohibited from drinking any wine or intoxicating drink, but lest us Baptists get excited, see, this is where teetotaling comes, it's biblical. No, he's also, or he or she, notice it's given to both men and women, have the option of, or the ability to make this vow. No, not only are they not supposed to drink any intoxicating drink, any wine, or any other fermented drink, they're also not supposed to eat any raisins, or grape seeds, or grape skins, or vinegar. Where would Baptists be if they couldn't have a little bit of mayonnaise on their potato salad at because it's got vinegar in it. That's why I don't like it. Anyway, it's an abstention, an abstaining from all of these sorts of things as a way of drawing one's attention to the fact that you're giving it up. It's also a fasting, an abstention. That's what fasting is, right? It's not eating something for a particular something, or not eating anything at all. It's also a fasting from hair cutting. You see this in other religions as well. Sikhs, that's why they have the big turban. That's why Rastafarians do the dreadlocks, because they abstain from hair cutting. If you've never, I don't know about you, but I'm getting to that point where I need a haircut. If you have you get to that place where you let your hair grow longer than you normally do, it starts to grate on you. Yeah, especially if you're growing a beard, right? It gives a daily, constant, minute by minute reminder of something. Right? Some of you maybe have done the elastic band around your wrist as a little reminder. You want to eat something, you want to smoke something, you want to do something you're not supposed to do. You do a little rubber band as a little negative reminder of something. The hair provides that. Start to get on it. It's everywhere. It's there. And it's an avoiding of dead bodies. You're not supposed to be in the presence of a dead body. And I love the fact that it even has a provision if somebody should happen to drop dead in your presence. Probably the most likely scenario is that you would go to bed in a little one-room stone house like they lived in, or in a tent, and you would wake up and discover that somebody else had died right there beside you. And then what do you do? And so there's this whole provision that you go shave and you offer these sacrifices. And notice the 8th day thingy in there. You get to recreate a new thing that started, and you start your vow over again. All right, that's the Nazarite vow, or we're not going to reinstitute the sacrificial system, so I don't propose that we all become Nazarites. What can we learn from this? Well, one of the things that we see in this is that this practice is an important thing, but we need to remember that if we don't apply something to our life, it doesn't actually take hold. What does James say? Faith without works is dead. Right practice, doing the right thing in our lives, doing something special with the way that we eat, or the way that we dress, or the way that we walk, or the way that we talk, or something. Right, all those vows of silence that the monks take, that's just a different form of fasting from talking. Right practice, doing the right thing, is not righteousness. But if we don't do something, then we fail. We call these things spiritual disciplines. Remember, discipline is the root of disciple. We're following a particular path of somebody. And if we don't practice some form of discipline, not just as habit, right? I mean, it's no virtue that my kids eat vegetables. Right? It's just the fact that that's what's for dinner. There's no intentionality behind them eating them. It's just hunger. Sometimes we get to a certain point in our lives when we look at somebody else and go, well, I've never done that. Well, yeah, because you just haven't. You never had it to practice it. We have to have some form of discipline. Otherwise, we're just like, what happens when kiddos don't have any discipline in their lives. They grow up to be wild child We need to practice some form of discipline. So the first thing we can take away from this text as we think about how it applies to our lives is to do something. Something. Practice some form of asceticism. An asceticism is making your life more difficult than it is. Have you ever noticed that when you're going through a particularly challenging time, whether it's an illness or a relationship explosion or poverty or something, you get real close with God? He's right there beside you. It's good because on one side, God's right close by you, and on the other side, Satan's there breathing down your neck. Well, what happens when we get sort of comfortable and, think we don't have to rely on God because we've got our acts together and things are sort of falling into place the right way? And sometimes it's a little bit harder to hear the voice of God. Harder to feel the Holy Spirit's hand on our shoulder going, maybe you want to turn this way. And so we practice asceticism is to make our lives a little bit more challenging, to make it difficult, is a way for God to speak to us. A way for the Holy Spirit to work on our hearts and our minds. A way for us to improve ourselves. Well, no, it's a way that we allow God to improve us. We work with Him. It's never done on our own. Otherwise, we just get prideful. Oh man, I fasted for 8 days. Fast for a few more before God gets a hold of you. One of the things, if you give up food for a long period of time, in the beginning, you're hungry and you start thinking about it, and then after a certain point, you're like, hey man, I'm day 4, I'm cruising. This is pretty easy. I'm amazing. I can give up food for this long. And then you realize, oh yeah, but it's not about that, Lord. I'm fasting for a particular purpose. There's a particular demon that I'm fighting. There's something that's out there that I need to have my mind set on. It's not about what I'm doing. It's about what you're going to do, Lord. That usually happens day 6, 7, somewhere. It happens. This is not these asceticisms, whether it's giving up food or giving up TV or the internet or Facebook or sugar or a particular category of food like some folks do. It's not an atonement. It's not that those things are sinful. It's not that we're somehow like my giving up fighting. You should just give up fighting. That's not the point. It's not that these things are replacements for somehow, this is going to make me so much better that I don't have to worry about anything else in my life. I want to read to you a couple of scriptures. First one is from Psalm 50. I have no need of a bull from your stall or goats from your pens. Right? Sometimes we make these vows saying, okay, I'm going to give this to God. I'm going to make a big sacrifice to God. This is a way I'm going to fast. I've shared with you before, I was always impressed. I don't know if he still does it because he doesn't make his tax records public, but I was always impressed with Dick and Lynn Cheney, who used to reverse tithe. They would give 90% of their income away. Now, he was making like $6 million and living on $800,000, but still, there's plenty of people who, are making $6 million who feel good about giving $600,000 away. It's a whole different thing. Anyway, that's a way of doing something, saying, okay, I'm gonna give this away. But God says, I have no need of a bull from your stall or goat from your pens, for every animal of the forest is mine, and cattle on 1,000 hills. We normally talk about cattle on 1,000 hills being how God provides for us. He's reminding us, no, the cattle on 1,000 hills reminds you don't need to provide for me. I know every bird in the mountains and insects in the field are mine. If I were hungry, this is God saying this, if I were hungry, I would not tell you, for the world is mine and all that is in it. Do I eat the flesh of bulls or drink the blood of goats? God's saying all those sacrifices you do, they're not for my benefit. They're for your benefit. Sacrifice thank offerings to God. Fulfill your vows to the Most High. And call on me in the day of trouble. I will deliver you and you will honor me. If you do all these things, you still need to pray to God to save you. It's God who saves, not us, because we somehow have checked off all the right boxes. Yep, I gave you a bull, I gave you 2 young pigeons, did you like the list of the offerings? You know, make the thick bread and the thin bread. Oh, I like the thin crusty, not that pan stuff. It's so greasy. It's all brushed with olive oil mixed in. And, you know, okay, I got that, I got this, I got the wine, now shake some of it for a wave offering, or wave some of it for a wave offering, and some of it, you know, here's the shoulder. It's not that we can check off all the boxes. Okay, so I gave up my chocolate, and I've been fasting from food for 24 hours every Friday. It's a way of thinking about Jesus. And no, it doesn't mean you don't need God's salvific work in your life. It doesn't mean you don't need the redemptive power of Christ. It means that you actually acknowledge that you need it. I'll turn to one more passage. Notice, by the way, that this is Hebrew Bible, the Old Testament, saying these things. This isn't Jesus or Paul or Luther or somebody saying, "Oh yeah, the sacrificial system doesn't mean anything." This is God's word in the Hebrew Bible. This is from Isaiah chapter 1. Hear the word of the Lord, you rulers of Sodom. Listen to the instructions of our God, you people of Gomorrah. It's always good when God starts off by calling, you want to impress somebody, call them Sodom and Gomorrah. Or in the Irish version, it's Sodom and Gomorrah. Oh no, that's something else. Anyway, Sodom and Gomorrah, the cities that get destroyed, right? That they're so wicked that God sends down fire and brimstone to destroy them. Here he's calling his people Sodom and Gomorrah. He says this, the multitude of your sacrifices. So they're doing all the things they're supposed to do. They're checking off all the boxes. They're still sacrificing in the temple, just like God told them to. The multitude of your sacrifices, what are they to me, says the Lord? I have more than enough burnt offerings of rams and the fat of fatted animals. I have no pleasure in the blood of bulls and lambs and goats. When you come to appear before me, who has asked this of you, this trampling of my courts? Remember, they're doing exactly what the Bible tells them to do. All the stuff that's given to Moses about this is how you are to sacrifice. They're going, okay, we can do this. They're bringing all these sacrifices, and God calls it a trampling of his courts. I think that's funny. Stop bringing meaningless offerings. Your incense is detestable to me. New moons, Sabbaths, and convocations. I cannot bear your worthless assemblies. Remember, these are all assemblies that are laid out by the Bible. These are all religious observances that are in a book that they say, okay, we're going to follow God and do these things. Your new moon feasts and your appointed festivals, I hate with all my being. They have become a burden to me. I am weary of bearing them. When you spread out your hands in prayer, I hide from you. The people are praying and God is annoyed. I hide my eyes from you. Even when you offer many prayers, I am not listening. Oh, I went to church 6 days last week. I was in prayer meeting for 2.5 hours each day. Oh, I pray, 7 times a day. Well, let's see. No, in Judaism it's 3 times you pray. Morning, noon, and night. And then Islam, when Muhammad sets it up, he says, well, we're going to do better. We'll do 5. I can do better than that. I'll pray without ceasing. That's what it says. Never deal with a kiddo who keeps badgering you? Just be quiet! That's how God is with these people. Well, I said please. I did the right form. I was polite. I am not listening. Your hands are full of blood. Again, God through Isaiah is being funny here. He's accusing them of having their hands full of blood. They're doing so many sacrifices that their hands are full of blood. But that's not all. Wash and make because they're murderers. right? Oh, the blood's on your hands. Wash and make yourselves clean. Take your evil deeds out of my sight and stop going wrong. Learn to do right. Seek justice. Defend the oppressed. Take up the cause of the fatherless. Plead the case of the widow. He says, you're doing all these religious things, but it hasn't had any impact in your society. The fatherless are being trampled and destroyed. See some heartbreaking statistics about how many babies are born to single mothers. In Vermont, in the nation today, we have an instruction here to take up the cause of the fatherless. Who's the father? I don't know. Oh, that's okay. We're not supposed to worry about it. Plead the case of the widow. Do something that helps you get to this place where your heart is not just about fulfilling your religious duties. It's not just about going to church on Sunday morning. Not just about having your name on the right list someplace. See, that's what Zwingli was getting at. He knew an awful lot of people who fasted for Lent, but it didn't actually make them not sin any less or any more. Too many negatives there. You know what I mean? Didn't actually change. What do we say about baptisms, right? You can go down in the baptistry dry and come up wet and have no change in your heart. I want you to do something, but I want it to change your heart. The second thing that I think we should take away from this is that it's okay to fail. It's okay to not succeed at whatever practice it is that you're doing to try and show your devotion to God and allow God to work on your soul. There's the provision in there for the person who drops dead in your presence. You can stop and restart it. Don't feel like you've somehow failed God. You haven't. You're just human. One of the things about the fact that there's sin in the world is it means nobody bats 1,000. Nobody is perfect. But none of us are perfect. We're not going to be able to do it. It's okay. Or you might have to take a break. I always think it's interesting. Right? So we think about the Catholic Church being this big, rigid institution, and Lent being this big, somber thing that you got to prepare for these 40 days. St. Patrick's Day falls in the middle of Lent, almost all the time. They go all the time. St. Patrick's Day is a feast day. There's a special dispensation to celebrate St. Patrick's Day and then go back to fasting, because it's worthwhile celebrating. I mean, the evangelization of an entire nation is pretty fantastic. We shouldn't be excited about that. And so they said, yeah, take a break. Do it. Sometimes when we're engaged in an ascetic practice, we're fasting or something, we then bump up into something, we have visitors come over, or there's some wedding or something in the middle of it. We should not go and say, oh no, I can't have this wedding cake because I'm abstaining from all sugar because I'm not showing my devotion to God. No, eat the cake. Take a break. Go back. If it's some big major thing, you have to restart the whole process, that's okay too. Because it's not about your ability to fulfill your vow. It's not about your ability to practice some sort of spiritual discipline, to fast and abstain from something. If you're saying, okay, I'm not going to eat whatever, meat, let's say, common thing given up for Lent. You say, I'm not going to eat meat, and then, one day you're eating a cracker, and lo and behold, it's made out of some delicious pasture-raised lard that somebody rendered themselves. Don't freak out about it. Just start again. Allow God to work on you again. The final thing is to trust in God to work out what He will in the period that you're doing the thing. You're practicing the discipline. Trust in God's power, not your power. You see, it's not about our ability to do something. It's not about our ability to understand something. It's not about what we go into a situation saying, okay, this is what God's going to do in my life in these next 40 days. See, that's where we get caught up in the divisions in the church about what's going on at this table. It's not about us and us having everything figured out and read every word and lined up. It's about what God's doing in this table. It's about what Jesus is doing when He sits down with His disciples. They didn't have it all figured out. Heck, who's at that table? You've got Judas. He clearly doesn't quite understand what Jesus is doing. You've got Peter, who's going to deny Jesus, but only because Peter sticks around. Everybody else runs away. If they had known what Jesus was doing at that table, they would have been there and been like, okay, bullets are going to bounce off me. You can strike me down and I'm going to be raised up. There's only one person who knows what God is doing at that table. It's Jesus. There's only one person who knows what God is doing in your life. And let me tell you, you're not it. We do these things, we practice these disciplines to allow God to tell us what He's doing. To allow God to transform us. Otherwise, we're just changing God into our image. And quite frankly, none of us look that good. We want to be changed into God's image. And so we trust in His power, not our power. Now, sometimes it's a miraculous transformation that's big and showy. Sometimes God heals people. Sometimes God delivers people from things that is awesome and impressive. Sometimes it's a little bit quiet. Just as impressive, it just doesn't measure up to worldly standards. Sometimes God gives us peace when there's no earthly way that we should have peace. Speaking of peace, somebody can agree. Sometimes God gives us an understanding of something that there's no earthly way we should have an understanding of that. Sometimes there's a reconciliation, either in our own hearts or with someone else, that happens. Sometimes it's just a reconciliation between us and God. Remember, there was a time when we were enemies of God, sworn enemies. We were doing everything we could to work against Him, and He decided to die for us because He loved us. It's God that works things out by His power, not ours. But we do these things, we practice these disciplines, we fast, we observe time periods, we take vows, we do stuff to make ourselves uncomfortable, our lives more challenging. We participate in ritual observances that were a little formal and stiff and we're not quite sure, so that God can speak to us, that God can transform us, that His Holy Spirit can move among us, that Jesus Christ can indwell in our hearts, in our lives. Because if we don't, if we just say, oh, none of that really matters, if we just say it's all simple and it's all over there, then none of it gets on us. None of it gets in us. None of it manifests in our day-to-day life. And we've lost something. We've missed something. We've denied something.